Alrighty, Sharp Customs. We're rolling. I got Mr. Jeff behind the camera. So got the truck here. Took some scuffs last time out. We do have, if he just wants to show the boat, we've got a matching jet boat. I'm going to show you the inside. But I'm going to lift the top off this, and I'm just going to go through it quick because we're just doing a little short video. And the reason Jeff's behind the camera, I'll be behind the camera because he brought one of his, the lovely camera girl, Karen. She took a trip out east. Love you, sweetheart. Can't wait till you get home. I'll see you then. Let's have a look at this thing, man. I hope she watches the video. I'm sure she will. So I guess we'll start at the back. I've gone through this. You can look up other videos. We've got a grinder, rear end. We've got the self-propelled lawnmower drive shaft. We've got the 350 watt scooter motor. We got 2 battery packs go here. This is a new controller. I was going to show my box of burned out electrical stuff because the original one I did burn it out. This one works better, or it seems to. I haven't really got to try it. I've got this set up here, which is a potentiometer switch on a servo. So I actually do have slightly slower speeds now. This is just my receiver and battery pack, for the servos. Obviously can't light it up. Both the breaker and the switch, they both work. We got the janky the janky control arms. You got to remember, this is the first quarter scale that I built over 3 years ago. So these are just it's just quarter wire, and all 4 shocks, believe it or not, they were from some site on Amazon. They're pretty much done. They've lost all their fluid. They got extra springs in them. Yeah, back ones are a little stiffer. Not as much weight back here, but yeah, that's we're doing this video because people wanted to see a little bit more technical. Spindles, pretty straightforward. Made the spindles out of some pieces of aluminum. This old quarter scale servo that I got on here, it still works pretty good. I've had that thing for 20 plus years. 20 plus years. I'm going to set this down. I'm going to throw the jet boat up there. We'll have a quick look. So this used to have a 26cc Zenoa gas motor in it. Yeah, it's dirty. I give it a quick wipe, but it's fiberglass, so it's very static.
I just want to get a look at the lightning bolts because they are so cool. Like like when you're looking at them from, like from this distance, you really can't capture the detail. But when you get up close, yeah, camera might not catch it, but to the naked eye, it's really cool.
And look at this here. Look, I got the blue bling in it. The blue bling.
Yeah.
The blue bling looks awesome out in the sun. I can't remember if I put any in
it. It is on the truck. I noticed it.
Oh yeah, a little bit, but it was heavy on the boat. I think because it settled out in the gun and I forgot to shake it when I first started. But here, what we got going on is, so we've got the 3D printed pump, obviously with an aluminum impeller. So this motor, it's a big old brush motor. Basically, I have no speed control in this. I have a relay here. It's an on-off switch. This thing is full on, full off. And how I control the relay switch, check this out. It's a regular house light switch.
Somewhere in the house, the lights don't work.
Yeah. Hey, just on, just a servo just pulls it on, pushes it off. And I only run this one on 20 volts because I tried to run this little motor. I will grab the unit. I stole that motor. I tried a rigid drill motor. I melted it down. I burned it out on 40 volts. The smoke came out. It's not going back in. And then, so I've had this for like many years. It is an old cop siren. You know, used to spin in. And I
How do you
found
spell that?
Yeah, exactly. But I found it upstairs and I was like, oh man, that's got a brush motor in it. Probably only 12 volts, obviously. So, yeah, that's where I got that motor. I did wrap some copper tubing around it. Because I've only tested it in the pool. You know, we planned on doing a video where we drive the truck in the boat down to the river. And, yeah, you know, shit happens, man. We just haven't got there. But the battery pack and the receiver, that's out of a Baja. That's out of one of my old Bajas that I sold off as a roller because I swiped the motor and some other stuff in the radio box. But I'm gonna stick this away and we're gonna get Jeff's car up because that was actually the question I had, was about the suspension on his GT40 and why there was no suspension. I'll throw the frame over there and then we'll swap hands, all right? We'll swap hands. We got good light. We got good light over here. All right, give me the dang camera. How's our battery life doing? Our battery life is good. Let's go. We'll swap sides. All right.
All right.
It's all on you, man.
Well, last time out, you know, I just had no suspension in the back. And I was thrashing on, you know, the night before we took it out, trying to figure out how to get these shocks on the differential. Now, because there's no actual real housing to mount link bars or anything to stabilize it, it was just flopping around. I couldn't figure it out. I tried. So I came back and, you know, went back to the drawing board and revisited it. And the mistake I was making is I just needed to stabilize the differential laterally this way. Simply adding 2 link bars. And then, you know, after I did that, it's rigid. So then mount my shocks and like magic, I got a suspension.
Cool.
You know what I mean? And I like the fact that the input shaft stays on a, you know, one plane. It doesn't pitch this way or that way. I do have a little bit too much pitch on the differential or the drive shaft, but that doesn't matter. You want like ideally around 6 degrees, but as it compresses, you know, it straightens out a little bit. The link bars I make out of 1/8 TIG welding rod, and then I turn like a millimeter off on the lathe and then just, you know, thread it and put on my ball ends. So have you ever seen an 8-link suspension?
Yeah, it's an 8-link suspension.
You know, but I fill the pot with a 75-140 synthetic gear oil, same in the transmission, and you know, the gear reduction up front here.
Yeah, and that rear end, this rear differential was out of a nitro, like a
nitro buggy or
about a 1/8 nitro buggy.
Yeah.
That I had just kicking around. Took it on trade.
One change I made in the transmission is I went up to a 27-tooth spur gear from a 20-tooth. Because I noticed when I did run it the last time, with, you know, obviously different gearing in this compared to the axle I had before, it was slower in the top end. So I just tested it across the street a few minutes ago, you know, just a couple laps, and I got the speed back. So I'm you know, I'm happy about that. It's not killer fast, but it, you know, fast enough to have fun. I just wanted to go through some of the materials I use for this. The pan itself is 50-52 aluminum, which is a softer grade aluminum, and it's formable. So I, you know, managed to bend a 90 degree in it.
Of course, you put all the lightning holes.
The lightning holes. And you know, mount everything before you put the lightning holes in, because all of a sudden you need that space, that material to be there to, you know, to mount something.
And don't forget the driver.
Now he's a 3D printed Ken Miles. He's just kind of hanging out there, you know.
I think you should grab the body.
Yeah.
Let's set the body on it. Let's have a good look, because it's a killer looking. Look at the color pop under this this LED light, like a sunburnt orange. Pretty cool.
It's called Tangerine Pearl.
Tangerine Pearl.
Now it's sitting a little low on the tire because, you know, I don't have the screws in the mount. But there was a question as where do we get these bodies? Well, we get them here, right here at Sharp Customs.
Yeah, right here at Sharp Customs. We've got, you know, we've got the coupes, we've got the Lambos.
Johnny goes.
We've got the GT40s.
He puts the work into.
We've got the truck, the 50s truck bodies. I actually have one of those available.
Yeah, so he builds the split molds, and I think this was 11-piece split mold, the GT40.
Yes, GT40 was a 13-piece split mold.
13-piece.
13-piece split mold because I was making them in 5 separate pieces so I could pack them in boxes smaller to ship them around.
I wanted to point out the subframe here. This is a weak point in the mold, so there was flex, and because I used this as my front mount, it's just a press fit over the chassis. There was flex, and I actually cracked you know, one of these bodies right across here, but of course that was after it hit a curb. But
we seen that. We seen that.
But this here, you know, it stiffens it right up, and then I just kind of glass it in with fiber cast. It's like an epoxy.
It's upside down.
Oh,
but it's
flipper.
It's okay, man. We could have got it.
Number 10.
Number 10.
Out of 20?
Yeah, out of about 20. Yeah.
So I use the same kind of thing in the back.
Bracketry in the back.
Yeah, anything structural, as far as the suspension or whatever, I use a 6061 aluminum, and it's more machinable aircraft grade. So, you know, anything, you know, as far as...
What else you got over there? He's got some other bits and pieces over there.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I just want to do a quick... one thing I forgot about is I made these axles, like basically it's 3-piece, and I welded the ends on. Of course, you know, when you weld something, it's never going to be true. So now that I've got the concept and I know it works, where are we going?
Trying to go.
I just want to show how uneven or unbalanced the tires are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know what? My axles are like that on some of my cars, but because these are big boy toys, I don't worry too much about it. Yeah. It's only got to scoot across the asphalt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But my next move is I'm going to actually machine 1-piece axles on the lathe.
Cool.
And make them perfectly true, and a 1/4 inch longer, because the tire just doesn't quite fit the fender the way I like it to.
Very cool.
So yeah, otherwise a success. You know, from just something that's been sitting in a box for years, kind of resurrected it, repurposed it.
And I got another one for him if he wants it.
I think he gave me them both.
Oh, did I?
And I took the best parts out of them.
Ah, gotcha.
Another thing, these are the front tires. Well, I had the drag car tires on this chassis on the GT, and they're beautiful. They look nice, but...
Yeah, those are those $1 million wheels.
Those are the $1 million wheels from Australia.
Yeah.
But don't try and corner with them, because they're not cornering tires. It just hopped and skipped and pushed. So I went back and I had like when I ordered these, I got 4 of each. So I got 2 on the Lambo chassis, 2 on this one. Corner's much better, handles better. And these are the wheel adapters that I make. I got a little bag of goodies here. Those were the rear adapters.
Yep.
And the knockoffs, I actually bolt them on through here. The thread's just for show. You know what I mean? And then I have the little electrical cabinet, plugs that I use to, cover the end up just to make it look pretty. And here I have the adapter shaft that goes into the transmission. So I have to drill it out 5 mil for, you know, to fit the transmission. Johnny suggested earlier that I make a front wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And then of course here's a drive shaft, and this end DAPS slips on, you know. So there you have the setup. I had this in this car, but because I shortened it and I drilled and pinned it, it doesn't slip. So it was binding, and I wound up bending these control arms because it, you know, it just, there's no slips. Well, you can see here, as it,
She's slipping.
She's slipping.
Yeah, she is slipping.
So this is a nice drive shaft.
That's what you
like
want.
Like it's a CV. It's tight.
What you want.
You know what I mean? It's tight.
Look at
it's
his
smooth.
drive shaft.
Whoa.
Look at his, what the heck did I do with... I had one on the bench and it disappeared. Oh well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I had another one of those lawnmower slip shaft
Like this one.
jobbies.
This one has a little bit of play in it. You know what I mean? But that doesn't matter. Like when it's, you know, it works. It works. Another thing I wanted to show, like, I know these here are very pretty, anodized, you know, ball ends. And I got a whole bag of them very cheap. But look at the play. And that's,
Yeah, there's a little bit of
that's
play.
only going to increase. And I found that after about an hour of run time, like, you know, they're done. They're done. You got to replace them. You know, like nylon.
So you
whatever.
need a little bigger.
I'm trying to find 3mm steel, but everything, you know, where I shop is aluminum.
Yeah.
With a high rice content.
Yeah. It's
know.
got a high race content.
So I found these here are much more durable. You know, like those are much more durable. But I got lots of these, so it's easy enough to replace them. Routine maintenance.
Yep.
Yeah. So
All has to have maintenance.
so
'cause-
anyway,
We run them, we smash them, we rebuild them, we make them better.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
yeah.
That's what we do. That's kind of the fun behind the hobby. Is
You know?
we don't try and smash them. You know, we're not
No.
we're not bashers, but sometimes, you know, it's like the scuffs on the roof from the guardrail. The truck needed a chop job. That's what it needed. So it would fit underneath the guardrail.
Yeah. So we go, you know, concept, design, engineer, manufacture, test, troubleshoot, and refine.
Exactly.
And that's what
He said it all, man. Nice little short video, getting a little technical with, you know, some people that just wanted to know that stuff. So I think at this point, hopefully I get both of us, but...
Shark Customs. Here, I'll get closer. Not too close.
Thank you to everybody for watching. Hope you come back for the next one. And love you all. Peace. We are out of here.